For this activity, we're going to look at chewing gum. Now that we know what chewing gum is made up of, we can see a couple different kinds here. There's fruit kinds, mint kinds, bubblegum kinds, just to name a few. Let's talk about the properties of chewing gum. So first for the activity, that's what we're going to explore, is the properties. So is gum a solid or a liquid? Well, if we open one of these up and examine it, we can look, it looks like a solid. Now when you chew it up, as we know, gum gets to where you can mold it into a different shape and everything. So kind of looking at and deciding whether it is a liquid or a solid. It can also, if you want to blow a bubble, and then you can freeze the gum into a bubble type shape, it goes back to more of the solid form that we know it to be. Another thing we can do is find out the gum's mass before we chew it. So one part of this activity is to take a piece of 3 different kinds of gum. So let's say the bubble, and then a fruit flavored one and a mint one, and then weigh it, find out the mass in grams before it's chewed, 1 minute after it's chewed, 5 minutes after it's chewed, and then 10 minutes after it's chewed, and find out how much mass it loses in that time and which ones lose mass more quickly than the others. Another part of this activity is to find out the density of the gum. So I can tell you right now, just by having this glass of water, we could find out if the gum that I have in my mouth that's chewed is more dense with water. And I'm sorry if you think this is gross, but I'm going to show you. So if we put the gum in, we see that it is more dense than water. How about if we put a piece of unchewed gum in? When I first thought this, I thought those longer sticks of chewing gum or any of the chewing gum might float. Let's see. Nope, still the same. Still goes to the bottom. So they're both, whether chewed or unchewed, are more dense than water. Another portion of this activity is to take each gum, and we can see how long it takes them to lose their flavor and time it. So chew this one and then time it when it loses its good flavor, this one and then this one, and kind of compare and see if it relates to the mass. So the concentration of the portions of this that are soluble in your mouth may have to do with the mass and keeping the flavor. So see what the relation is from the different gums to the mass and the flavor. Also, a challenge between these is to find out which ones blow the best bubble. And obviously bubblegum has the long-standing, notion that it's better at blowing a bubble, but not necessarily, because a lot of these just have the bubble flavor. So finding out which brand, because there's Juicy Fruit here too, and tried it, which brand blows the best bubble. So what you want to do for that one is get a partner and take a piece of gum, and one of you will blow the bubbles and one of you measure, and then find out which one has the best bubble. And I would take and do 3 of each. So this kind of gives us an overview of the different properties that every kind of gum has. New research shows that gum can increase your concentration when doing activities. So the last portion of this experience is obviously, or activity is obviously, depends on your experience for concentration. So if you choose an activity that you like to do, whether it's a puzzle or a crossword or trivia, and one day you do it, the regular way without gum, and the next day you do it with gum, and then you decide which you got more done of. So if it's a puzzle, for example, you would do the puzzle one day and count how many pieces you got done, and then the puzzle the next day with gum and count how many pieces you got done, and kind of see if it really does have an effect on your concentration. And that sums up this activity. And so this is basically all the materials you'll need is some gum and something to weigh it with, and a glass of water.